streaming. I need to mute you guys.
Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Big Papa Pump needs your hookup. Holler if you hear me. What else we got? Oh, a little bit of the bubbly. Let me in. Say dummy. Dummy. Yeah.
Hey yo, it's me, it's RVE. What's up everyone, it's the RVE here on behalf of the Heelcast. With me today, I've got the one and only, we'll probably get into at some point, and I've got with us the return of the Fat Master himself, Fap and Hurls. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much, man. Just happy to talk some wrestling tonight.
Guys, can we restart this one from the top? I messed up, and it'd be better to just redo it. We're only a minute in.
That's fine.
Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Big Papa Pump needs your hookup. Holler if you hear me. What else we got? Oh, a little bit of the bubbly. Let me in. Say dummy. Dummy. Yeah.
Hey, yo, it's me, it's RVE. What's up, everyone? It's the RVE here, back for a new episode of the Heelcast. With me today, I've got the one and only Exalted Brother _ dude or some shit like that. What's going on, buddy?
I'm doing all right, my friend. How are you doing?
I am burnt out and worn thin for being back to work, but it is what it is.
How long you been back to work, man?
Oh, my God. This is week 3, but it feels like week 3 years. It has been hell. It's been insane, but I guess it's good in its own right. But it's definitely been time-consuming and overwhelming. I've put in 64 hours of work in 1 week, and now I'm back at it already. So it's lovely times.
Well, but you're making bank on that though, right?
Not as much as I'm used to, but you know, I'm still making more than I was with the temporary COVID layoff and furlough. So
outstanding.
There's that. Right?
Outstanding.
No doubt, and also with me, I've got the king of Fap style back with his return. I got Fap and Hurls. Hurls, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Excited to talk some wrestling, and just kind of want to address one thing. I didn't really talk about it on really any of the Heelcasts, but yes, I did get the COVID-19. It wasn't too bad, very similar to the flu, but recovered from the muscle aches and chills in about 3 days, but lost my sense of smell and taste for about a week. So that was probably the worst part. But yeah, no, I'm doing fine. Not serious, really. So at least my body was able to handle it. Must be all that Pornhub I'm watching these days.
Now, let me ask you a question, Hurls. As a survivor of COVID-19, right, did you just get it or did your whole family get it?
My wife passed it to me. She works in a nursing home, so it's kind of, I knew when she caught it that I was most likely going to get it. And yeah, sure enough, I got it like 2 days after she did. So, but the kids, they didn't seem affected at all. So that was good.
So they didn't even show any signs at all. They probably had it and they just didn't bother them.
You know, Hurls,
yeah, correct.
It wasn't brought up on the Heelcast, but you're wrong. I did actually bring this up on the Heelcast. I actually did pronounce you dead. So
yeah, we made sure to bring it up, dude. I know I talked about it. I know damn well I talked about it.
We now have.
Well, thanks. I just I wanted to address that I'm still here, still alive and kicking.
I mean, I'm not so sure about that.
This is actually
live and fapping.
Yeah, we have a fapping ghost, or maybe a fapping demon on the show now. So the fapping
we need to get Nick on this show. Speaking of demons, and by the way, happy birthday, Nick! Today is actually her birthday. I should throw that out there. Happy birthday to her, and we need to get her on the show.
Happy birthday! So, look, a bit of a rush show today. I am also at work right now, so if I just drop off the show, you know why. But so we're going to go ahead and skip the plugs today. By now, the 20 of you that actually listen to the show weekly already know who to follow and go check out anyways. I hope so. But we'll go ahead and hop into the news, boys. You ready?
You're not going to plug Pornhub?
I am not going to plug Pornhub.
Damn it.
I'm sure you two can do that when I'm off the call, but
I'm plugging a lot of things right now. Pornhub's one of them.
And, so we're starting the show with another sombering story in 2020. So 2 deaths to start with. The first one being Shad Gaspard from the prime time in WWE. Very sad, tragic story. Drowned, washed up on the lake. He had, a tide took him. He actually saved his son, and then was unfortunately his life was taken. But man did die a hero, saved his son. Rest in peace to Shad Gaspard. Extremely sad. Hurls, I'm sure you've seen more of Shad's work than the Exalted Dude has. Your comments or thoughts?
Yeah, it was a really, really sad story. You just really, really hate to see something like that. And when that whole thing was kind of going on, I was like, yeah, he didn't make it. But when you hear what really happened, they were out 75 feet. The riptide happened. Nothing you can do. They just kind of come out of nowhere and pushed them all the way out to about 200 feet in the ocean. But the lifeguard, he told the lifeguard to save his son, which he should have done, and he did a hero's act right there. Just incredibly sad and tragic. Big Shad was a solid big man. I really enjoyed Crime Time. It's really a shame that, A, they never won the WWE Tag Team titles, especially in that era. They should have definitely gotten at least one run with the titles. And B, that they never were picked up by any company, really, because I thought they were a really good tag team, and I think somebody could have used them well. But they are going to be in the new Virtual Basement video game, so I guess you can keep the Crime Time spirit going.
Yeah, I never watched WWE, so I never actually watched Shad Gaspard. So I don't really know much about the guy. But here's the thing, you can always look for a silver lining in every situation. And if there's one silver lining in this situation, it is that the man died a hero. And he did what every father and every parent, says that they would do in that situation. Shad actually did. And he actually, in a day and age, guys, where professional wrestlers are very much about me, themselves, and it's that kind of industry too. I mean, you're on the road all the time, right? You're not home with the family. But here's a guy that was enjoying a day at the beach with his son, a family man, and then put his son first. I think he becomes an inspiration for all of us. And I think that professional wrestling needs more folks like him, and less, unfortunately, of what they've actually got. So Shad Gaspard, rest in peace, my friend. I didn't know you, didn't watch your work, but you've earned my respect and the respect of every parent on the planet. Rest in peace.
Absolutely. And then, we also had Japanese wrestler Hana Kimura actually committed suicide only a day or two after this, right before Double or Nothing came on the air. And apparently it has to do with bullying from Twitter and social media. It's extremely sad. Like, look, dude, social media is a fucking toxic place, and wrestle Twitter is even more fucking toxic than any of the rest of the thing. You have, I'm sorry, a lot of wrestling fans are socially inadequate and inept and don't have fucking people skills and are taking this stuff too seriously, too far. Watch your words with what you're saying, because you never know how someone's going to take it or react on the other end. It's sad, it's disgusting, and rest in peace to this poor girl. 22 years old, that's way, way, way too young. I mean, shit, there was, and it goes two ways too. Look, I understand it's a public figure. You open yourself to this, but these wrestlers got to get, and I don't mean to sound like a fucking asshole here, but you got to get some thicker skin going on. I mean, we had this thing with Alexa Bliss from some dude that made a comment a year ago. Basically he said she, based off of her ring performance and stuff like that, she's one of those girls that just lays there in bed and doesn't move or anything. And she got so upset and blasted this guy and put it out there. And then the fan base is going after him and sending this dude death threats to where he's had to deactivate his account. And now his parents are getting fucking death threats. It goes two ways with this bullying shit in the comments, and it's disgusting. Heels back in the days would have embraced and loved this thing. You know what I mean? And it's just such a new age of society, and everyone is so unreceptive to criticism. And I'm not trying to make it sound like Hannah shouldn't have done this. She shouldn't have. I feel terrible for the girl, but it's just society has got to fucking change. This is ridiculous. Exalted dude, your comments.
I have some dumbass trying to troll me right now, and I think sometimes if you're gonna be on Twitter, you need to have thick skin, or you just don't go. And that's the advice that I would give her. But this moron just doesn't stop, and it's all I did was suggest that somebody maybe donate to the poor man that got killed. Was legitimately all that I posted, and he just started attacking me relentlessly. And it's funny because this moron is talking about our Facebook likes on our podcast now out of nowhere, and I'm just laughing because I'm we're not even on Facebook, you idiot. But that's just it. People are idiots, right? And this is what you deal with when you're on Twitter. And if you're gonna engage with these people, this is what's gonna happen. Your best bet is if somebody starts to piss you off and you don't feel good about it, block them. But really, don't do it to begin with. Twitter is a very, very, very toxic place. Always has been. This is why I don't do much Twittering at all, actually. And because people can hide behind a handle. They don't hide behind their real name. People bully and do things on Facebook, but not the same. Not when you have your real name. And so my advice to somebody like her is to, just go to Facebook and go other places. And stay in character, right? Keep kayfabe. And professional wrestlers these days, Raven, in fact, we talk about this all the time. They don't know how to keep kayfabe. And so everybody wants to be this and that and the other, and just stay in character. The most successful ones stay in character. You don't see all the WWE superstars running around saying stupid shit. Okay, it does happen. There's always that one moron, right? But for the most part, their Twitter's kept in check. And I think that that would probably help somebody like this gal. But also, when you're out there and you're trolling people, this moron that's saying stuff to me right now, he has no idea if I'm getting ready to jump off a bridge. He doesn't care. Because that's the type of person that you're dealing with there, right? So just, block them. Actually, I should probably block this idiot thinking about it. I'm just kind of having fun with it because it's sort of funny listening to his next idiotic remark. But, just block them, be done with it, and be the bigger person. Which I guess I need to do that now. Damn it. Take my own advice.
Or mute. Hit the mute button.
Oh, I'll mute him. That's a good one. There we go. What does that do? What does mute do?
You just can't see anything that these idiots are saying to you. And sadly, I mean, or Hannah Kimura, who probably should have learned to access that feature, didn't, and it pushed her to the edge. And that's the thing too. People don't realize what's going on in someone else's life or whatever. There. And the thing too, like, and this is a lost thing in society, is not everyone agrees on the same thing. It doesn't make anyone a bad person. It doesn't make them a Nazi motherfucker. It just there's different points of view, and just because someone doesn't agree with you on everything doesn't mean that they're a bad person or you should have a reason to hate them or to obsess over them. You need to get it over it and move on with life. Hurls, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, to give a little more context to Hannah Kimura, apparently she was on some reality show on Netflix, I believe. It was called Terrace House, and apparently there was an incident that happened on the reality show that people, I don't even know if they were really wrestling fans per se, but they were Terrace House fans that were starting to bully her. Apparently one of the incidents was that a guy was doing laundry, and I guess her laundry was still in the washer or dryer or whatever. She had one of her wrestling gear in the dryer or whatever. He ran it, and it ended up shrinking. And I guess the wrestling gear was the first ever women's match in New Japan on Wrestle Kingdom, I believe. So she flipped out at the guy, and I guess he kind of slapped him somewhat. So after this whole incident happened, this is when she started getting cyberbullying. This is when she started being cyberbullied. So that was a little more, I guess, to what happened. But you should never take your life over, what somebody else says. But people all, they take it differently. Everyone's different. And the other thing is, too, on Twitter, there's a quality filter, and you can turn that on, and I believe it'll also block any negative comments. So, or at least tries to block most of them. So
then we could
there's also something to put on.
Raven Effects comments would be out then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently banned for 12 hours on Twitter anyway, so.
So surprise. So guys, look, obviously present company excluded. When you're dealing with these idiots online and you see them, just try to remember, again, present company excluded, that most all people are actually good people at heart. You just disagree with them on some things.
Absolutely. And even if you do, even if they aren't the best person, is it your business to push them to the edge or try and ruin someone's life? I mean, if they're not a horrible, fucking terrible person who's done something terrible, you know what I mean? What's the point?
Dude, I was told I was part of the problem because I said that the guy that died was a victim and so was Target. And I was told I was part of the problem because I thought that. I mean, this is how crazy people are. So, but just laugh at it, and you might not understand what the person's trying to get at, but just moving on. Yeah, it's a terrible shame. But hopefully, we can use her life as maybe a reminder that for every one of her that dies, there's a lot of other people that die every day taking their lives over things that happen on Twitter that nobody cares about because they're not a public figure, and that's a shame.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, don't contribute to people's terrible, shitty behaviors like Excalibur, the commentator with AEW, who fucking literally deserves no respect from anyone at this point. But
yeah, fuck Excalibur.
Fuck you, Excalibur.
Fuck Excalibur. So, in case you guys missed it, Excalibur is donating money to the protesters up in Minnesota. Yes, he's donating to bail them out of jail.
Using the word protesters very lightly.
Yeah.
Thugs, rioters, looters is what they are.
But he didn't give any money to he didn't give any money to the family of the poor guy that died. Which was my point when I started getting attacked. It's you got a victim here who died, whose family could probably use some money, and you're giving it to idiots that are protesting that should just realize that this matter is already being handled to the fullest extent of the law and will be. There's no need to raid Target, folks. There's no reason to steal a big screen TV, or popcorn. This is there's no need to destroy things. Let's let the justice system take its course, and they'll get these guys, and they're already going after them, which they should.
The Target employees got to
and not only
as it is. I mean, making their lives that much shittier.
Well, not only that, there was a pharmacy in this Target as well. Like, there's a bunch of jobs that's probably going to be lost. So you're also affecting all the people that work there, not just Target. So next time you want to spew this crap, why don't you think about all the factors in play? And I don't think anybody is on the side of the police officer. Okay, so that's the first thing. So maybe, just maybe, you can think about more than just one aspect of this whole thing.
I'm pretty sure the police officer's mother hates him at this point, like for real. All right, we got to move on, guys. We got to move on.
And the next time you thugs decide you're going to loot up a Target pharmacy, send the fucking Percocet to the RVE.
Goddamn right, I want a big screen TV.
Anyways, let's make Hurls happy and talk some Impact. So Hurls, there's a new show. Explain this. A new program coming out, an extra hour or something for Impact that sounds like it's going to become TNA.
Yes, Impact in 60. They're going to be playing like highlights, moments of TNA's past, Impact's past. It's going to be a lot of different. They're going to have a different theme. I believe the first episode is going to be based on the Asylum years. So, it should be interesting. I think if you haven't watched TNA at this point, this would be a good way to kind of get familiar with the history of the product. I'm looking forward to it. There was a report that this could have been something where they were going to relaunch the TNA brand. There's been some rumors on that, but nothing's been confirmed at this point. So it will be interesting to see kind of where this goes and to see if Impact 6 in 60 is just kind of a way for us to get TNA as the second brand.
Love it. I don't see any downside. It's content that is cheap. It helps the network. It takes advantage of the library, and it could potentially bring back fans that like that particular brand. The only concern that I have with this Hurls is that the production quality and the caliber of talent and the names they had was higher back then because it's a much higher budgeted show. And that it could, from a quality perspective, override the current product. But then again, that's not the worst problem that you could have. My only other concern is that if they're going back to the TNA brand, does it speak volumes to the value of the TNA brand, or does it speak volumes to the value of the Impact brand? And I think that kind of remains to be seen. I hate to dive into it, but they took a big chance on Tessa Blanchard, right? And then they bet big. And with her not showing up for all these tapings, and potentially, I don't know what's happened. She could have re-signed. I'm just throwing a wild idea out here, but she could potentially leave the company as a champion, right? That would be very, very bad for Impact. First of all, to have your world champion leave, right? But secondly, to have a woman leave, a little woman at that, when the men couldn't beat her. So you kind of worry that there could be some damage that has or could be ready to happen to the Impact brand. That could be driving some of this too. But if they can keep it as a second brand long term and do a second show out of it, I see nothing but it would be great, right? It would be great.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. This show started because we all started as TNA fans, and then of course they became Impact, and then we started doing the Heelcast, and one of us is still loyal to Impact while the other two are not. But I'm excited to see where it goes. I really am starting to wonder if Access or AXS, whatever you want to pronounce it as, has given them a bigger budget to go sign a lot more talent, as we'll talk about in a second, because they've got more women than Wilt Chamberlain does now. But I'm excited. I just don't want to see this fucking intergender shit come over to TNA. I love TNA. I never wanted them to not be TNA. I hated it. No more TNA, brother. So I'm excited to see where it goes. They've got some talent. Like I've said, my prediction is we'll have Eric Young return with the TNA Legends title because they got enough legends there now. to compete for it, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, we'll go TNA. TNA was very rampant in Minnesota where they were looting the pharmacy. But
man, I didn't see any TNA I was interested in that video.
Oh boy, me neither. But Hurls, your TNA is dripping pussy, just swimming in it. They have re-signed Su Yung. They signed Nevaeh. It's one of the Chris brothers' wife. They signed Tasha Steelz, and they took a big one and signed Deonna Purrazzo, the recently released NXT star. Big shocker. It's a big hit to AEW's women's division, which is the worst fucking thing I watch on television every week. But go ahead and gloat about it, Hurls.
Yep, and they also well, I'm assuming they also signed Kimberly, but yeah, this one kind of came out of nowhere because like when we were doing our predictions on where all these released wrestlers were going to go, I know I said AEW. I really thought that she was going to go to AEW. When I saw the promo on Impact, I was pretty shocked. I did not see that coming. Yeah, she's a good talent, and she was really, really young when she was making her appearances on Impact and Ring of Honor and NXT when she was kind of doing that, and then she got signed. And yeah, I think her promo skills seem to be a little better than they were when she first started. So definitely being in NXT helped her out. It really sucks for her WWE career that she did get called up to Raw for like one episode and then basically got released. But yeah, this is an interesting signing. But once again, they've signed so many knockouts. It's going to be hard to use them all unless they have a plan up their sleeve. So I'm wondering what that plan is. I've always said I wanted the Knockouts tag team titles to come back, and I think that's a very big possibility. But if they are doing a TNA brand, they're also going to need some knockouts for that brand. So, yeah, it's a really good signing. And just to kind of maybe, I guess, not really start a rumor, but it's possible that AEW did not pick her up because she was scheduled for All In, which is kind of like the birth of AEW, so to speak, the unofficial birth. And she pulled out of All In because she got an NXT offer. So I don't know if there's any bitterness there or not. I'm not saying there is, but it could maybe play into something as to why AEW didn't sign her.
I mean, I feel like you're making an assumption that I think in this case, Hurls, and Hurls, I'm saying this, and I want to be quoted as saying this in the future. I want it to be remembered that she'd rather go to AEW than Impact. And I say that because, look, if she goes to AEW, okay, who's going to be wrestling? Chris Statlander, right? Karashida, some big dude. They have a really, really crappy women's division. And she goes to Impact. I mean, the talent's through the roof there. It's insane. They could start, wink, wink, hint, hint, nod, nod, their own women's show with the talent that they've got. They got Tessa Blanchard main eventing, so they've already built her up as a star, okay? I mean, think about it. If this whole Tessa Blanchard as world champion thing was done to build her into a star to have a women's show, whoo, all of a sudden they look brilliant for doing it, right? And I've dissed them the whole time. They have star power over there. And it's the exact opposite with the men, right? If you're a top-level man, you want to go to Impact, and you could immediately jump into the world title scene like, say, Brian Cage did and be wrestling against Tessa Blanchard, right? That's not gonna go over well. You're gonna be a tag team and go there, and North's pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna knock them, but that's all you got. You got the Rascals, who actually should be the face of that division because they got the talent to do it, but they're the Rascals. And who else is left? Freaking TJP and Falaba. So the men are a hard get for them versus AEW's tag division. It's just, I don't even know how they're going to be able to use FTR at this point. But it's the exact opposite. I think Deonna Purrazzo is just doing what's good for business, and Impact is better for business than AEW.
Let's
You
be
almost
real,
wish.
dude. What's that, Hurls?
I was just going to say, it was like you almost wish they were sports teams and they could make a trade
Right?
because the needs are totally on the opposite sides.
And the rich are going to get richer, and the poor are going to get poorer unless AEW has the money to do it. They make a splash and sign to Tessa Blanchard or somebody like that. And if they did that, then they would have the ability to then bring more in. But, you know, it's actually, believe it or not, if they did that, then Impact would be able to get men again. That's actually funny. They just trade their one star. But I don't know. I kind of look at this as it's a good thing for business. I don't think she's a star, but I think that she'll have the ability to grow in Impact. I don't think she's growing in AEW because I don't think there's anybody that can put her over to help her grow. But in Impact, when Jordan Disgrace finds out she's not going anywhere, when Rosemary leaves or Sue Young leaves or Taya leaves, she could fill that void having been built up over time. In AEW, she's going to come in. She's going to be in a division where you already fast forward through the women's matches. Just reality. It's good for business, and I'm happy for her.
Yeah, good for her. I mean, look, let's just be real. You know, this women's revolution stuff, it didn't happen in the WWE. It started with TNA and the Knockouts division in 2006 or 7. And they actually showed that there are some women out there that can work. Now, AEW's division, now I say this, like, Deonna Purrazzo is no star. She's no game changer, anything like that. But it's a big swing and a miss for AEW to not get this girl. And thank God on last night with the Sheeta and Casey Jordan or whatever her match was, it wasn't as bad as what we've been seeing. But, you know, people criticized AEW for not getting her. And Omega said, you know, like, well, did you see the matches at the pay-per-view? We're fine. Did you see the fucking matches the past 2 weeks prior to the pay-per-view? You're not fine. Literally. So 2 weeks prior when they had that 4-way match, that was literally one of the 2 worst women's matches I have ever seen in my life. The other one being fucking Charmel T against whatever that broad's name was at the time. I'm drawing a blank right now. Do you know how fucking hard it is to be one of the worst women's matches of all time? That says so fucking much. Women's wrestling, for the most part, is so goddamn bad. It's awful. In AEW's division, it's terrible. They need someone who can actually work that isn't so sloppy, because I can't stand seeing another fucking Chris Statlander match, goddammit. They need to take that pile driver away from the girl before we end up with another fucking Darren Drozdov or Stone Cold Steve Austin injury. It's just terrible. I cannot believe that they didn't go for this. They are the big dog. They debuted basically as the number 2 company, at least in the United States, and then the TNT deal, apparently, according to news, makes them literally number 2 in the entire world. It's fucking embarrassing, and it's terrible. This division is so fucking bad. I literally fast forward. Anything I can do to not watch these matches, and then you have the only star or anyone with any kind of charisma going on, Britt Baker. And you have 2 women who have no business lifting up a fucking 200-plus pound man that is got a sex change, and they drop it on this girl's leg, and it's not necessarily Nyla's fault, but Nyla doesn't belong in this division and shouldn't be in this position. So that's why we got Britt with the fucking bad injury. It's ridiculous. But Britt Baker's nothing special either. She's literally there and focused because the fucking hope is that he can bring in Adam Cole, baby. It's terrible, and it's a big swing and a miss because they need someone who can actually work instead of this sloppy garbage we're seeing on TV every fucking Wednesday night in this women's division, and it's pathetic. They got women that can work, like Allie and Shanna, but they never use them. Ravens rant out on that one. So
it was a ridiculous spot. It was a terribly ridiculous spot. You know, and this comes back to, you know, we joke about the big dude in the division and probably going to set off some social justice warriors, but anytime you have somebody that's 2 or 3 times your size, the genetics of this human doesn't matter at that point. Somebody can get hurt, and it's dangerous. And so you have to be very soft with what you do. And when I look at this, you know, it's impossible to blame Nyla Rose, right? So I'm not blaming Nyla Rose, and I'm not saying it has anything to do with, you know, with genetics here, right? I feel like whoever was the agent for this match and said, hey, I have a great idea. Let's sit Britt in the corner, and let's just throw Nyla at Britt full speed. I'm sorry you just lost your agent card. You're fired. You're done. Looking at that spot, I have no idea how she couldn't get hurt. And I would just hope that whoever is setting these matches up is at least intelligent enough. And I know they're doing a terrible job because the division's horrible, but I would hope that they would at least have some common sense to go, Lil Brick gonna get hurt here. Like, nobody would have ever thrown Andre the Giant on somebody like that. It just wouldn't happen. They would have been like, this is bad. This is not going to end well. And so I just don't understand why this was even considered. I don't even blame the wrestlers, and you certainly can't blame now. I mean, you're gonna roll. You're gonna what you can do? Go to dead weight and go, I'm sorry, Brett's gonna get hurt, and that goes with the heel persona, right? It's just a stupid idea.
Why in the hell do you put her in the corner to do it instead of in the middle of the ring where there's actually space to adjust? You know what I mean? And you're talking about the agent. Well, no one's gonna fucking fire Kenny Omega. Or Kenny Olivier, as Jim Cornette likes to call him. But, I mean, this is ridiculous, like, how this spot was even designed. And the social justice warriors can get pissed, but it's biological fucking facts. You know, these women have no business picking up what is biologically born a man and has man features and is heavier and all that and drop them on it. My God, it's fucking stupid. I guess we're saved from seeing a Britt Baker match, but we still got to suffer through Statlander's fucking botches, 10 botches per match. This girl is so fucking bad. I cannot stress how much they need to get her off TV until she's ready to actually wrestle before she fucking hurts someone. I'm seriously got to take the pile driver away from this girl. She's going to hurt someone.
Dude, she's a freaking alien gimmick. I mean, just goodbye. Just we're done. And Britt Baker, she actually is the star of that division right now. I mean, let's face it. Her promos when she first started cutting promos were hideous. She's gotten a lot better, and she's grown a character out of all this. She's improved tremendously. She's the most over person in that division, and you just killed her by taking 250-pound dude and throwing him on her. And she had no chance. Like, it was just... And I didn't want to throw Kenny Omega's name out there because I don't know for a fact that he was the agent for that match, but we've all heard that he's the one behind the scenes doing the booking and being the agent for the women's matches. So chances are he was involved, or at least should have been able to say it's a terrible idea. But give me a break. It's a big old botch fest. It's terrible. And you know, Hikaru Shida was like the number one contender for like 10 or 12 straight weeks. It's like, I barely even really know who she is. But part of it's I fast forward through the matches, and part of it is I don't think she was wrestling that much.
This really reminds me of two other spots where you instantly watch it and you're like, okay, this is a really bad idea. One, obviously the Sid Vicious off the top rope, and you saw what happened there. I mean, that was a terribly planned spot. Second was the Impact Plus event where Rich Swann gets basically clipped from Dave Christ, where he does a back senton onto a bent over Rich Swann, and it just takes out his knee. Like that spot, I knew that was a terrible spot. Like you should not put somebody in that position because chances are you're going to get something's going to happen. And when I saw this, I was like instantly, okay, that was a really bad spot. That's just, you just don't do that. Like, come on, folks, it's simple gravity. Let's start using it.
And I'll say this, you know, the Sid spot, you know, I mean, that was bad, but that one didn't have to be as bad as it was. But you were dealing with, you know, very highly trained professionals, right? And the Rich Swann spot, I mean, those guys are good. Those guys are good ring technicians, right? They just got a little carried away with what they were doing. They were probably given the leeway to do whatever they wanted in that moment because it was just an Impact Plus show. You're dealing with people who are pretty green in this instance, right? Like, who in that match, like, actually would you go, that's a ring general? They didn't have one. Okay, so they really needed more management. Like, there's other couple of cases. It's like, you know what? You guys are pros. You guys are over. You've been doing this for a lot of years. We're going to give you the ability to do what you want. These girls are green. This isn't the same thing as taking, you know, Gail Kim and Tessa Blanchard. Like, you might let them do it because they're good. You know what I mean? I had to make sure the SJWs out there knew I wasn't picking them because they were women. Just for the record.
You know, the alien thing only works because they're like, you know, we've seen in movies or whatever, like alien skin color is supposed to be green or whatever. and Chris Statlander is as green as it fucking gets.
Dude, people think she's hot. Like, people online want to bang her, and I am like, why?
It's the internet wrestling community. They're all fucking virgins. Of course they want to bang her.
This is true.
You know, I told you guys, I saw her on a Twitch event like 2 years ago. She wrestled on one, and the company that she was in, they were really hyping her up, and I just wasn't seeing it. I thought she was really green back then. I was like, wow. So I was like really kind of surprised that she had such a big name and that AEW signed her, but then not only that, they pushed her pretty heavily. So I was a little surprised like that. I'm like, okay, I've seen this woman wrestle, and I just wasn't impressed. I don't know what people are seeing about her.
I don't understand, for the life of me, how she isn't the champion right now based on the way they pushed her. Like, they don't push Shida at all, but I guess she's Japanese, so she gets to be the champ. I don't know how this works. They push Statlander down our throats, and she sucks. And don't get me wrong, Shida's better than Statlander, but so am I, for that matter. I never wrestled.
Yeah, I'm sure. Literally, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with the Japanese thing. Look, it's Kenny Omega's supposed to be in charge of it. Look, let's just be real. Like, I enjoy the guy's ring work. He's fantastic. But like, Kenny Omega is that fucking white geek who watches too much anime and wants to be Japanese or Asian or something. He's a guy you see wearing a fucking kimono, thinking he looks cultured in pictures with his awkward, stupid smile, and he just looks like a fucking weirdo. And that's really what the guy is. And that's why the Japanese women who are not getting over in the U.S. are dominating this division with Rio and Shida. But
listen, I like Rio. I think Rito's the only one in that division that I think actually has talent. The problem is she weighs 75 pounds soaking wet. So it's just hard to buy into her. But I actually think she's got talent.
They both have talent. You know what I mean? But it's not working out. Obviously, it works out enough for them to put the belts on them, so it is what it is. But I don't think either woman is getting over. You know what I mean? I don't think either of them are as over as Baker. So, it is what it is.
Baker's record is 12-8, 500. That's what I was so confused about with how they were using her, because they gave promos to her and they were seeming like she was going to be the face of the division, and then all of a sudden, she's losing, 1 week, winning the next. 500 booking with her. So I was shocked at that.
RVA.
So.
We lose you?
Can you guys hear me now?
No.
Yes.
No.
I can hear you.
All right. So I only got about 15 minutes left before I got to hop off the call here and let you guys finish it. So we had a pay-per-view Saturday. We had Double or Nothing. Very hit or miss, I guess, per se. I will say that, I ordered it. I didn't want to, but I went in house with my boss. So, I only paid $25 for this thing. I felt it was not only AEW's worst pay-per-view, but it was their worst built-to pay-per-view. I know it's getting a lot of, praise online. It really, for me, it was entertaining. It was good, but it definitely was not great, nor did I think it sucked. We had the ladder match, which started with the debut of Brian Cage, which made me very happy. They brought him out with Taz. I love the fact that they're using the beat Cage if you can, survive if we let you kind of a thing. I think that's awesome. I think there's been too much comedic shit going on in wrestling, and it's lost that seriousness to it. And I think if we go some vintage old school Taz from ECW, that's what we're going to get, and I love it. Cage looked like a monster. The match, in my opinion, kind of disappointed. I feel a huge reason for that disappointment is because Phoenix couldn't be in the match. But hell of a debut for Brian Cage. Exalted Dude, your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a lot better than what you're giving it credit for. When you look at the matches, you say to me, what match was just can't miss? I got nothing for you, right? Because even the even the Stadium Stampede match was originally supposed to be a cage match a couple months ago, right? That was supposed to air on Dynamite. And they had to, they couldn't get anybody to be there. And we haven't seen Adam Page in how long? And then he's kind of in the match and he's kind of not in the match. We hadn't seen the Bucks together since February, right? So it didn't have good build-up. But if you said to me, like, how did the matches deliver? The matches were actually not bad at all. I mean, even that match that had Statlander in it. Who did she wrestle again? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Penelope Ford.
Penelope Ford is another one who's a little on the green side of the. I love Penelope Ford. I just like her act. I don't like the way she carries herself. I think that she could be a star in that division in time. But it wasn't a bad match. Really, I actually watched it. Right. The only one that I fast forwarded through was Shida and Nyla Rose. I just caught the end and moved on. The rest of the matches were pretty good. I mean, Cody and Archer was a pretty good match. The Stadium Stampede was unique and different and exciting, and I just mark out for the stupid shit where they I want a review, right? And they do a booth review of it and stuff. I thought that kind of stuff was cool. So I thought the card itself I thought was good, Even Moxley, right? That match, which had no build whatsoever, right, was actually pretty well done. It's just that there was no can't miss match, and I think that's what made it so bad. Loved seeing my boy Brian Cage. I think it was a direct question. Glad he's there. I think it's a great place for him, and I like the fact that they're putting a rocket ship to his ass and catapulting him to the top. He's a guy that could be a non-WWE world champion for them. I don't think he's ready for it yet. They're not going to give him the belt, but he's a guy that deserves a bit of a shine. Oh, I will say this much though. MJF and Jungle Boy, right? They could have done better than that match. That's all I'm saying. MJF deserves better. That match is just, we got to get these two young guys on there, and it's just why. But put Luchasaurus in that position. I mean, you've got a guy who clearly could be a main event caliber talent in Luchasaurus a heck of a lot sooner than Jungle Boy, if Jungle Boy ever makes it. And you put Jungle Boy in that spot, which is bizarre.
So what I'm going to do, basically, I'm going to kind of get my thoughts here in 5 minutes or so. And then I'm just going to have a call, let Hurls give his review, and I'll let you guys take care of Impact and Dynamite reviews for the week. But MJF, Jungle Boy, I thought the match was better than I expected. I don't get the appeal of Jungle Boy at all, like literally at all. But I thought the match was better than I thought. I thought Cody and Archer was fantastic until the end. The end really kind of made it suck. It was just a weird finish. I don't know how it took, so much to put Sean Spears away for Cody, but Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster, who's been tearing it up, he kind of beat him with a little bit of ease there. But it was really good. I fast-forwarded I literally skipped the Statlander and Penelope match. Sean Spears, man, you can be funny without making the guy a joke, and I feel like it made that guy a joke. You look at how much it took Cody to put him away, but Dustin beats him with ease, and it was just a very short fucking comedy match that could have been better, but it is what it is. I skipped the women's title match because I'm done watching this women's division. Moxley versus Brody Lee was pretty good too. I liked the ending to it. It was different than all the shit we see nowadays, where it's like, the ending's coming. There's a bunch of chain wrestling. You're just kind of waiting to see like what move puts who away. And it was, he hit him with the finisher. It didn't do it. He beat the shit out of the guy. Still couldn't put him away with it, and then he choked him out. I liked the ending of it. The Moxley title reign has not been very good. It needs to improve. I'm hoping Brian Cage becomes the champ. Then, of course, the Stadium Stampede. It was a spectacle. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I liked it enough. I was entertained. I didn't mind the comedy stuff to it, except when they did the football shit, like the excessive celebration and the booth review. It was just comedy that failed. to me. The Matt Hardy stuff was funny, and I don't mind the Matt Hardy comedy stuff because that's what we expect. But the fact is, like, this was supposed to start as a blood and guts match. This was a blood feud. And in this big blood feud, having a comedic fucking comedy cinematic match didn't do it the justice that it needed to do, in my opinion. That's why I didn't like it. I would have much rather seen like a War Games or a Lethal Lockdown or something like that was wrestling. I want to see wrestling. I don't like the cinematic shit. It's not what I'm trying to watch, if that makes sense. But it was a decent show, but it was what I expected. Like, I'm giving everything a pass due to this COVID pandemic shit. But look, AEW did not build to this pay-per-view well, and truthfully, the shows lately have not been very good either. The main thing that is bothering me is there's so much botches, injuries, and just sloppy fucking wrestling that's going on in AEW's product, and it's bothering me at the moment. I'm giving them a pass. I'm expecting to change. I liked this episode of Dynamite a lot more than I have the past couple of weeks. But AEW for me has really been on a downhill slide. Glad to see the ratings go up, all that. But the pay-per-view for $50 was nowhere near $50. I spent $25. I still feel like I spent too much on it. But unfortunately, gentlemen, I have got to get going. I got to take care of some stuff to wrap this up. I'm going to kick it to Hurls to go over Double or Nothing. Love you guys. Thank you very much. RVE is out.
Whew, now we can have some fun.
Right.
About damn time.
Anyway, so Double or Nothing, I didn't see most of it. I did see the Brian Cage. I did see the ladder match. I actually did enjoy the spot where Brian Cage was under the poker chips. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, they're kind of building him. Now, I know it's only one, a couple nights, but to me, does he kind of give off a Brock Lesnar vibe with Paul Heyman? To you?
Yeah,
And I'm not saying it's a copycat or anything. I'm just saying it's a vibe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been hearing that, and it was probably from you. I mean, I guess we got short little balding dudes and big muscular guys. It's kind of hard not to see it. We'll see how it plays out. I don't quite understand why he's with Taz yet, but they really haven't explained it either. I just hope they don't wind up making him feud with Darby Allin, because that is not a feud I need to see.
Yeah, I agree. But I love how AEW uses the legends as managers. Brilliant. So many times these legends, they just kind of fade off into the sunset, make their one appearance here and there, and give a promo. But now you can see them every week, but they're using their talents in a different capacity. And I absolutely love what they're doing with managers. I think it's great. I think they're definitely going to set a trend with how well they're using legends as managers. So I love the whole Jake the Snake. I love Arn Anderson's role. I love, they're bringing Taz in. I think it's awesome. I think they're doing a really good job. I'm glad, Brian Cage, he's a huge wrestler, very talented, very athletic for a guy his size. I'm a little surprised that they are hot-shotting him straight pretty much to the top. I also agree. I don't think he's going to win the title, so quickly. I would expect some type of DQ finish or a dusty finish. But, it's a really good signing for AEW, but when we were talking about the knockouts and you were talking about the heavyweight and Impact, it really sucks because Impact needed a heavyweight guy, and they just don't have that many right now. So it's a pretty big loss to lose a guy like Brian Cage. I don't think it's detrimental, but they could have used to re-sign a guy like Brian Cage. But in AEW, I'm very interested to see how he's going to be used. Looks like he's going to be used very well. Moxley and Lee, that doesn't surprise me. Those two, I believe, had singles matches on pay-per-views in WWE, so they've worked together before. I believe they had a TLC match one time together in WWE. So they should have some chemistry there. So that's good, though, that they had a good match. Stadium Stampede, I did see highlights. It did actually kind of look pretty fun. So I might go back and check that out. Sheeta winning, that kind of surprised me. I thought Nyla would keep the belt, but I'm actually happy that Sheeta did win. Gets the title off Nyla Rose. And, Sheeta seems pretty decent. Like, out of all the AEW women, like you said, Riho's good, Sheeta's good. But at the same time, it's not hard to look the best when you're going up against a lot of green wrestlers. So I'm glad they put the title on her. That's pretty much all I got. Cody winning, I was a little about. I wanted Lance Archer to win, but it's fine. I'm sure he'll get his comeuppance, in the near future. But yeah, it seemed like a decent pay-per-view. I think RVU was a little harsh on it, but we'll see what happens.
Hurls, you mentioned something, and we've chatted about this throughout the week that I think you hit the nail on the head with, and that is their use of managers, or they're not calling them managers, though. They're calling them, I don't remember if they're calling them consultants or strategists, I think. But, Brian Cage getting a mouthpiece. He's not going to be exposed for not being, he can talk. I said that he can't talk, but he's not a great talker. He won't be exposed because he's a great talker, right? Lance Archer, probably not a great talker. I mean, he's spent most of his career at this point in Japan, right? So, it's just, probably not doing the same amount of talking over there that he does over here because they're much more sports-oriented, right? So they pair him with one of the greatest talkers of all time in Jake the Snake, right? And so they're doing these types of things, and they're using Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard at times for things. Maybe not as heavily as those other two, but they're actually bringing back that managerial role, right? And let's throw a bone, okay? And not to Allie, because I don't think she's doing much as a manager, but look what she's dealing with. But Penelope Ford, I'm finding myself actually starting to like Kip Sabian a little bit, and I have no idea why. And it's because she comes to the ring with him. Yeah, she looks good, but the truth is that it's the way she carries herself and then does the split. And the way she acts at ringside, there's a likability factor or a dislikability factor to it, right? So I think they are hitting the nail on the head with that. But Hurls, why don't they do it with these women, particularly the Japanese women that can't talk?
Very good question. Well, you could really benefit from a guy like Mr. Fuji, obviously, God rest his soul, but someone like that, I don't even have to say, it doesn't even have to be a heel, but just somebody so they could translate to the American audience, because it's going to be very hard for them to cross that barrier. The only one I can even think of is Asuka. I mean, she does a pretty good job over in WWE. I don't watch WWE a ton, but I watch enough to kind of know what's going on. So, I'm impressed. Their wrestling is good. It's a lot better than most of the women's division. So, but you're right. I think they definitely could benefit from having a manager for sure.
You know who I'd like to see go over there and manage them too? I think it would be a great heel manager for them. I'll give you a hint. She is a free agent, and so is her husband.
Ooh.
Who uses her last name these days?
What's her last name?
Well,
oh, yes.
You're going to get this. You're going to get this.
Yes, Maria Kanellis.
Maria Kanellis. Okay?
Yep.
Because look what a wonderful job she did with Allie, right? When she was in that particular role. Her going in there, she can talk, and she looks the part. She could set that women's division on fire, and I could get Mike Bennett, please, for God's sakes, please don't be Mike Kanellis. I could get Mike Bennett back on my TV screen because I never watched WWE, and I absolutely love that guy.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk about it, but kind of goes with the news more so. But what do you think the possibility of Sting coming in?
I mean, they just brought Mike Tyson back, for fuck's sake. And I'm supposed to say I can't see Sting showing up. People want Sting to come back and they want to see Sting wrestle, and it's like you're talking about a dude that had a career-ending injury that he could wrestle again. Okay, fine. Was he going to give you a match every 3 months? Yeah, going to be a great build up to that. Who's he going to wrestle that we want to see wrestle? Is he going to wrestle Jake the Snake? Is he going to wrestle Lauren Anderson again? Fuck is he gonna make? Dustin, woohoo! We could see him against Cody or Moxley. It's like, those guys can actually still move. There's very few things that people want to see him do, and you can't build a program with him. And Sting's strength has never been the fact that he's a good talker, because I'm sorry, Sting can't talk. He never could.
He was one of those guys that kind of avoided having a lot of injuries during his career. Like, I always remember him being pretty healthy for the most part. But, I mean, that once again, though, he didn't wrestle for basically a whole year when he was transitioning into the Crow. So,
and he didn't wrestle the WWE schedule either, for God's sakes.
It's
a great way to stay healthy is don't wrestle.
That's true. And how old is Sting now? Is he's not 60 yet, is he?
He's getting there, though. I want to say he's got to be like 58 or so. He's not a young dude.
I could see a good program with him and Jericho, because that match has never happened.
Sting is 61, dude. Sting is 61.
And when you're crossing the 60 mark, that's a little tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, if he wants to come back in like a Jake the Snake role, that's fine. I don't know how that's going to work because, like you said, he's not the greatest talker. He's not bad. I think he definitely improved. Like, when he was Joker Sting, I thought that was actually really good character work from him. And he'll tell you straight up that was one of his favorite characters to play.
But is he going to cut a promo like Jake the Snake? Is he going to cut a promo like Taz? No.
No, definitely not. He's not in that echelon. But I think AEW is going to definitely try to get him though. They want legends, and I'm for it. Sting's in my Mount Rushmore, like we talked about a couple months ago. So, but I don't know who he'd manage. I don't think Darby Allin would be the right call. I think Darby Allin actually kind of needs to be alone. I don't think I think he actually has some type of ambience to him where it works for him. So I don't know who he'd manage. Kind of interesting. It could kind of be cool if he did something with the Dark Order, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that one either. I mean, and going to Darby Allin, here's a kid that there's an it factor to Darby Allin that cannot be denied, but he's also like 5'7" on $135 too. So, can't push him in the main event role.
That's the problem. If he was even 6 foot, I think he could definitely. I would definitely start pushing him. But like, if AEW wants to get like a cruiserweight division sometime, I think he could definitely be the face of it.
See, and that's what I would do. I would make him the face of the cruiserweight division, and he would be super duper popular forever. But you're gonna put him in the ring with the heavyweights, and it's just like, no, man, this is never gonna work.
Yep. You're really up against the wall with his size. I mean, there's only 2 wrestlers that come to mind, Rey Mysterio and Spike Dudley. And Spike Dudley was the guy that you never put in that spot. Rey Mysterio made it sort of work because he was so gifted in the ring. And I think Darby Allin is very gifted himself. He's not, he's no Rey Mysterio, but he's definitely he definitely impressed me in the short time that I've watched him. So there's definitely something to that. But going up against like a guy like Brian Cage, I mean, that would be torture.
Yeah, I don't need to see that match. Please, God, don't give me that. But they seem to be building it because he says no to the to everything with Taz. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So let's shift focus here, right? Because we're running a little bit long here. So let's kind of cut to the chase. I know you want to talk a little bit of Impact. You obviously watch a show. I haven't watched a show, but we want to cover it. So why don't we cover a little bit of Impact, and then we'll get the show on the road.
Yeah. Impact had the tournament. They had the Final Four this week. It started off with Ace Austin versus Hernandez, which, I actually thought this match was pretty good. but Hernandez is not what he once was. He's let himself go a little bit, but I thought Ace Austin,
Hurls, he would be great for the AEW women's division because he botches all the damn time. Put him in a 2-2.
Oh, God.
He can wrestle Nyla.
Oh, Nyla would actually have some competition then. But, I actually thought Ace Austin played to the strength of who he was in the ring with. I think Hernandez has always entertained me, but, as a solo guy, he's just always been better with Homicide. So this match kind of made sense. Like, Ace Austin's going to win this one. I don't see them pushing Hernandez at this point to that level. But it was good. We also had Jake Diener versus Chris Bay. I'm a huge fan of both guys. I think they're both really talented. Johnny Swinger's kind of trying to get Chris Bay to be a team, and it looks like Chris Bay's kind of gone the heel route, which is fine, I guess. I just was expecting him more to be a face, and that's kind of how he was, but it seemed like they switched him up as a heel pretty quickly. So I'm a little surprised at that, but Johnny Swinger has been gold. I mean, he doesn't have to do much in the ring. It's just all his personality. He's got a lot of it, and I think it's gonna really help if they somehow form a team. Because Chris Bay, he's just like a cocky, I'm the ultimate finesser type, gimmick. And Jake Diener is very underutilized. This guy's like 6'3", built like a brick house, and he's losing every week. So, and that could be with Cody Diener being, stuck in Canada, which is fine. But, I just think they need to do something more with Jake Diener. And then we had this was actually a really entertaining match. They had the North defend the tag team titles against Cody Diener and a guy named Wheels. Basically, the whole match was like a cinematic match at the Diener compound. I thought it was really well done.
But the Diener compound's in Canada, right?
Yes.
And the only Diener that can't show up because he's in Canada.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, hey, you got to try something. Desperate times call for desperate measures. It's definitely desperate times, but it's just kind of funny that the one that's not there is the one that's actually in Canada, but they're claiming that they're in Canada. So. Right.
Yeah, no, I think he is a face. I mean, the Dieners are a face tag team, and the North are heels. Obviously, they had to do something, but I actually thought they made this work pretty well. The Diener compound was very interesting. There was a lot of different Diener's friends over there, and they kind of played off a little bit like, backwoods type. What's that movie? Burt Reynolds. Oh boy, Deliverance. They kind of had that little vibe going. They threw a lot of comedy in there. I thought it was really well done. Tractors. They fought all over the farm and the barn, and they actually had a wrestling ring in the barn. So I thought that was pretty good. The North ended up winning.
Dieners, right? I just they're likable characters. They're kind of throwback characters. They kind of remind me of the old NWA, and honestly the Hillbilly Jims of the world, and a little bit of the more modern Briscoes. But my question for you, Hurls, because you follow this a whole lot closer than I do, but do you think that if they just consistently push the Dieners, as opposed to using them really more, they really use them more as enhancement talent, because they don't take them everywhere with them? Do you think that they could go over and be a viable threat in the tag team division? Because I actually do.
Yeah, definitely. I think Cody Diener's got so much charisma, and he's good on the mic. And then you got the powerhouse in Jake Diener. I think they definitely could be pushed to the top of the card. I mean, they don't have to be, 10-month-long champions, but at least put them there.
Please don't do that anymore. There's too much of that. Like the Impact, find somebody else to be a tag team to take the damn belts. Yeah. And by the way, for all the crap people say about how great Jake is, I think Cody's the more talented guy. He might not look like $1 million, but he's the one that you listen to and connect with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just give her. Like that's a very catchy catchphrase. Like he's got more of the total package, for sure. He's got the mic skills, the character. I think he's way more like you can invest more into him. I think Jake Diener maybe gets held back a little bit from the gimmick, but they're not doing them any favors by them losing all the time. So they're not making them credible. And I talked about this 2 weeks ago on the Heelcast with Killer Kyle about Impact's tag team division for the last 4 years. They've always had one dominant team, maybe two, but it's always just been one team that's just really dominated the division, and then there's everybody else. And right now, Impact's got a lot of tag teams, believe it or not, but they're not credible. So the North's going to win every time they're going up against anybody because they've made every other tag team not credible. So that's the problem with Impact right now in their tag team division. But the Dieners are definitely a team that they could definitely use a lot better and make them more credible to the point where I could see them winning the tag straps. But, I love the North. Don't get me wrong. They're very entertaining themselves. So
yeah, but it's too much. Yeah. It's too much. They got to drop the belts.
They do. And it's like you had the Hardys, you had LAX, you kind of had the Decay, but they weren't really ever the main focus of the tag division. They got to do something. They got to mix it up. Maybe TJP and Falaba were going to take the straps before the COVID stuff. I don't know, but they definitely have to do something. So, but anyways, that segment was very entertaining. We also had some interaction with Kylie Ray and Susie. Looks like Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz are going to be teaming up. It's been decent storyline. The Rascals Treehouse was very entertaining with Moose. That was a very good segment. I actually really enjoyed the Treehouse segments quite often. I think they've gotten better and better since they've started. Like at first it's like, what is this? And then as it's went on, I think it's been really entertaining. So, then we had the main event, which was the other tournament match. It was Michael Elgin versus Trey, and it was a really, really good match. They gave this one a lot of time, 20 minutes, back and forth. I think Elgin, he kind of made it more look believable. He sold quite a bit for Trey, obviously. But Trey ended up getting the surprise victory after the lights went out. The ICU logos on the Titantron, and Trey gets the upset victory. I don't know how I feel about a Sammy Elgin feud. Two heels, I don't know how much the viewers are going to be invested in a feud like that. But I also understand they're kind of pushed up against the wall. So, they probably just had to throw something together. But yeah, I actually really liked Impact this week more than last week. It held my interest. And, I forgot the Dion Purrazzo promo was pretty good. So we'll see how they use her. So, yeah, I thought it was a lot better this week. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Not bad. Now, let me ask you a question, because this is something that, we did spin cycle at an Impact Asylum this week, and haven't done one of those things in years, and so I was one of the panelists. And for those that aren't familiar with it, basically the talent site owner will give a list of questions, and he'll have panelists that will write answers, and he creates an article and puts everybody's answer in there. And one of them was how COVID-19 is affecting, and do we think it's sustainable for Impact? And my comments on this, Hurls, and I'd like to get your opinion as to whether you agree or disagree, is that I think this empty arena stuff that they're doing actually, to me, is a big benefit for Impact Wrestling, because, AEW and WWE are going to be live, so there's no spoilers, right? And so fans can get invested in it as something to look forward to, versus with Impact, we can read the spoilers and decide when we want to tune in or not tune in, right? We don't think it's going to head or finish the way we want to finish. We just don't watch it. And if we're busy that night and we've already read the spoilers, I know it was going to happen anyway. I'll just start back up next week. No need to watch it on delay. But to me, this almost makes them live, because nobody knows what happened. So I kind of look at this as, if they can find a way to sustain the company without the gate money, which is key, right? I mean, that is important. that I think that empty arenas could be a good thing for them, and if they can make these shows entertaining in an empty arena, there could be benefits to taping their shows in an empty arena.
I agree. Like, they ran a contest on the tournament. Like, if you could predict the winner, they would have never been able to do that if they didn't have, the empty arenas. I actually do think it has played to an advantage for them. And, and like the Dion Peraza promo, like, granted, that would have been secret anyway, but still, there's stuff like that they can do that no one's going to know. And it almost makes you want to tune in more because you don't know what's going to happen. And, if you just read the spoilers, oh, hey, Ace Austin and Trey Miguel, they're in the championship for the number one contenders. Like, people look at the spoiler and just going to laugh it off. But
yeah, exactly.
Now, you actually have to watch it and digest it and be like, okay, that wasn't too bad. I can see why it happened. It makes a lot more sense to me now. So, yeah, I do agree with that.
Ooh. Well, I mean, like, I don't think I got... Oh, I got one other thing. And I guess it's more of a comment, something that I've been waiting to say on air for a while. It's about goddamn time Moose was a world champion. I'm just pissed that he didn't get the opportunity to win it in the center of the ring, but in my mind, he's actually doing... And I haven't really been watching the show a whole lot, right? He's been doing a great job as being a world champion and really pushing the brand and pushing it in ways that, God, Hurls, over the years, the champions in TNA and Impact have not treated it like it was the most prestigious belt they'd ever owned. And in a lot of cases, for folks like Sting, Kurt Angle, maybe it actually wasn't. Although I think Kurt Angle probably did a pretty good job at actually acting like he cared about the belt, right? But when you think about the greatest Impact champions of all time, you kind of want to go back to Jeff Jarrett because it really meant something to Jeff. I think Moose could wind up being right up there. Moose, as far as he's concerned, he's the real world champion, and this is the best belt, the most meaningful belt on the planet. And isn't that what you want out of your champ? And it's not an indictment. It's nothing to do with Tessa Blanchard, okay? But just in general, Impact champions have not treated it like it was something that they cherished, and Moose does.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Moose was he's been phenomenal since he's been carrying the TNA title around. And, his little run-in on the Treehouse this past week, I recommend everybody watch it. It was great. It was just a funny segment. There was actually a Kurt Angle mention and a Sting mention in there, and they actually played their theme music, which was kind of funny. But they were just kind of making fun of, how Moose, carries himself like he's the big, the best TNA champion of all time. But the fact that he's doing that and he's making it, he believes it, so you believe it, it comes off well. And I can't wait until they finally make this TNA World Title thing, like, legit. Because I'm hoping they do at least anyway. So I've really loved what he's been doing lately with it.
Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to throw some love Moose's way. We know that I'm a bit of a Moose mark to begin with, but I just love the way he's carrying the belt and how he's acting as champion, and I think that all champions should do that, and that's the hallmark of a great champion. You're not carrying around the prop, you're carrying around something that means something to you, and I think that's lost a lot these days in professional wrestling in general, but particularly in the past with Impact champions, just because they've had some really accomplished folks that were their champions that kind of look at that belt and were like, it's secondary to what I've done in the past. But to Moose, it's a big deal, and I think it should be. So, I'm done, man. You got anything else?
Yeah, I just got a couple quick questions. How was Dynamite? I haven't watched it yet. Like, I know we went over the pay-per-view, but was there anything really worth noting on Dynamite this week?
I mean, it was a solid show. There's no doubt about it. It was a solid show, and if we had more time, we could probably get into it more. But at the end of the day, it was still a post COVID-19 type of show, so there wasn't a tremendous amount of stuff that was going on and going down. We had FTR debut, right?
I did see that. Yes,
which I believe is for Fuck the Rest, not for the record. Which I'm always gonna think FTR for the record. But I believe it's Fuck the Rest. And so we had Cody taking a shot at McMahon, which I'll always enjoy. And so it was a good show. I don't have anything against it, but it wasn't knockout this, that, the other. I think that they're beginning to build the next pay-per-view, and considering they don't even know when that's going to be, they got time to build it.
I just want to say, that's, I think, what's kind of hurting Impact right now, because they should be ramping up for Slammiversary, which is generally their best pay-per-view of the year. It always beats, for some reason, the quality always beats Bound for Glory. So the fact that we're not getting a Slammiversary this year, most likely, it's kind of hurting as far as that goes. But at least AEW is still kind of taking that approach, and they're still got guys, look how many guys have debuted under COVID-19 with no fans. That's the only disappointing thing you could think of, like Matt Hardy. Now you got FTR coming in.
Matt Hardy would have blown the roof off of an actual arena. The way he debuted would have blown the roof off of an arena, and I think FTR would have blown the roof off of the arena this week. Cage just showed up in a ladder match battle royal. People would have marked out for it a bit, but it wouldn't have been the same. Those two would have been huge, Hardy in particular. Impact's biggest issue is that they have an immature world champion who decided to hang out in Mexico, so they're limited with what they can do. If they had the world championship, they could at least be building new stars, just even by jobbing, right? I mean, we see that happen in AEW. Sammy Guevara does it better than anybody. He's building himself into a superstar. He never freaking wins. He's a sacrificial lamb. But it's true. I'm really starting to like Sammy Guevara, and the kid never freaking wins. And I don't really want him to win, which is probably all the more reason why he's doing a great job. But Impact needs to be doing stuff like that. You can't do it when your world champion decided that. I know I have family in North Carolina that I could stay with and help out because they're elderly. And I could drive straight to Tennessee, be no problem, go work. I'm going to go hang out on the beach in Mexico. And it does hamper them. And I think that is a bit of a problem. But, I think that they're handling it the best they can handle it. The marks get into it with me over it. Well, they're doing this and they're doing that. Yeah, give them credit for coming up with things to do in that light. But at the same point in time, it's still like, are you freaking kidding me? And I think once they're able to get their world champion back in the picture, I think they're going to be able to open their floodgates a little bit more. In the meantime, if they had Slammiversary to build to, they can't.
You're right.
I mean,
there's nothing they can do.
There's nothing they can do. So I definitely give them an A for effort. It's just they're up against the freaking wall, and I find it hard to believe that Tessa's going to hold that belt for much more, or really get to be the face of the company, having done this. That's why I hope like hell that she doesn't just up and leave as the world champ, like I said before, because that would be disastrous. You had a lot of people working really hard to put on a good product.
Yeah, that would be a slap in the face. But only she knows what's her and Impact. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But the only final thing I want to say, we kind of forgot to bring it up. I think it's a big deal. A lot of gamers. But EC3 and Eli Drake coming to the new virtual basement wrestling game, I think that's definitely a plus. A 1-2 punch there.
I love it because if EC3 committed to that, he's probably not going to be in AEW anytime soon. So that's a win for me. And I love Eli Drake. Put his ass right on the cover with the dummy button, and I'm all in. I just wish that maybe Eli Drake would go to AEW, because I have no idea what the hell that product that NWA is putting out anymore anyway. But yeah, that's gonna be a great product, and we should all try to support it. Support indie wrestling. Like some great talent in that game, and some great people too. We got Shad, Gasper's in that game as well. So.
Yeah, definitely, and check it out on YouTube. A lot of videos about it. It sounds very promising. So hopefully it delivers.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm done. Are you done, Hurls?
I'm done.
All right. Well, in that case, look, folks. On behalf of the entire Heelcast, our homes at Impact Asylum and WrestlingWithWrestling.com, and of course, I guess I better throw RVE in there too. RVE's at home sleeping in his crib right now because it's past his bedtime. My good buddy, the COVID-19 free Hurls. That's some of the best news that you're going to find anywhere, anytime. This has been the Heelcast. Guys, have a great week. God bless, and we'll catch you next time.